Now, dozens of students at the Islamic Senior High School in Kumasi have sustained various degrees of injury as police allegedly shot into a crowd of protesting students to restore calm. A number of ambulances were reported to have gone to the school this morning to move the injured student to the nearest hospital. The students are alleged to have been protesting the poor state of a major road in front of their school, which often results in daily car knockdowns. According to unconfirmed report, one student is currently in a critical condition after being knocked down by a vehicle on the same stretch last Friday. My colleague Ohiming Teria is at the school now and joins us live. Ohiming, what has been happening at where you are? So we'll try and get my colleague Ohiming Teria on the line so we can bring you details of that particular story. But moving on to other stories for now, drivers and residents of Kojo and Yashima are outraged by the deplorable nature of their roads and are demonstrating to once again express their displeasure. The road that connects Sunyani and Techiman and the northern part of Ghana has been under construction for over a decade, with successive government unable to meet the scheduled completion date. They say the loss of lives, accident and maintenance cost due to the dust and the bad road can only end if the roads are fixed immediately. Precious Semevo joins us live with more. Precious, what can you report from this particular demonstration? Precious, so what can you report from where you are?
Okay, so the situation, in fact, if you come here, it started as early as 7 a.m., where drivers, commercial drivers, private car owners are all on the street. Residents are all on the street, right from Yahima to Kojo. Now, a bit of description. Now, this stretch of road connects Ahafo, Bono region to Techiman in the Bono East, and then to the northern part of Ghana. So it's a major road that connects this part of Ghana to the northern part of Ghana. And the road has been in deplorable state dating back for over a decade. Now, it was supposed to have been done. Salt has been cut severally, but all deadlines, they failed to meet all the deadlines. And the residents are outraged. They are obviously not happy. We've recorded deaths. Car continue to knock people. Dust continues to create health problems for residents. So this day, they decided that they are going to demonstrate to once again draw the attention of authorities. But the interesting thing is that anytime they show interest to demonstrate against authorities for their continuous delay in the completion of the road project, a day or two, you will see contractors and their men on site doing work. But after a day or two, when the situation dies down, then they silently move out of sight. That has been the situation here. So as I speak to you, the demonstrators are marching to the RCC, that is the Regional Coordinating Council, to present a petition once again to the Regional Minister, Justina Owusu Panahini, and to impress on them to ensure that the road is completed as early as possible. Now, the frustrating thing is that the demonstrators are preventing motorists from joining drivers who want to work despite the situation. What it means is that students are stranded, other people going to work are also stranded by the roadside, not getting vehicles to their various destinations.
Interesting. I mean, from the demonstration, which of the notable opinion leaders, like chiefs, assemblymen, are part of this protest?
Well, the assembly members, people from both political divides, are part of this demonstrators. Now, the other thing is that you are talking about notable people. People do not want to openly, show themselves for fear of being victimized, because there has been reports and previous incidents where there were demonstrations, that is Sunyani deserves better demonstration recently. And this particular stretch of road was one of the major talking points for that particular demonstration. And some of the people, the chiefs, the opinion leaders in the community who openly came out to speak against him, where, victimized, they were called out, they were insulted on various platforms. So it's been a situation where the youth themselves have decided to take it upon themselves and then fight this with or without of opinion leaders, the chiefs, because they are the receiving end of the situation.
Now, let's take you back to our earlier story where dozens of students at the Islamic Senior High School in Kumasi have sustained various degrees of injury as police allegedly shot into a crowd of protesting students to restore calm. A number of ambulances were reported to have gone to the school this morning to move the injured student to the nearest hospital. The students are alleged to have been protesting the poor state of a major road in front of their school, which often results in daily car knockdowns. According to unconfirmed reports, one student is currently in critical condition after being knocked down by a vehicle on the same stretch last Friday. My colleague, Ohiming Teria, is at the school now and joins us live with more. Ohiming, what more can you report for us?
Now, I'll say that the situation is a bit calm compared to the earlier times when we arrived on campus here. Police presence is also visible on this campus. A few minutes ago, the last ambulance parked here just left the premises of the school to send some students who are in unconscious state to nearby health facilities. Before then, the personnel from the ambulance service had cordon off a section of the school compound here as they tried to resuscitate the students who were unconscious state. I must say that speaking to school authorities and then the police officers, especially the leaders of the police team here, the indication is that they themselves are surprised that some of the students could be in unconscious state because they were rushed from dormitories on campus here. At the time that they were being rushed to this particular spot on the school compound here, there was nothing like a police shooting incident or whatever at the dormitories where they are, but they were rushed in unconscious state to this point and attended to by the paramedics here. So I would say the situation is a bit calm here, but just that police is maintaining their presence on campus as school authorities also try to lead the students to their various classrooms. And I've heard some of the students complaining that they are hungry and they want to go out and then eat. But I will say that academic work on campus has been disrupted as school authorities try to work things out with police presence here.
So do we know what caused the student to be unconscious?
It is still not clear as to whether they were hit by bullets from the police team or whatever brought this situation here.
Okay.
But the indication is that first, when police officers were called in, they fired warning shots to disperse the angry students who had massed up and taken over the main Barikese Abrepo Junction Road, blocking traffic to other motorists. So all these actions took place in front of the school compound. And later, when police gained access to the compound here, some of the students rushed to their dormitories. Police did not follow up, but later asked police stationed at the main premises of the school here. Then students were brought in that unconscious state, prompting the police team here to call in the ambulance. As I came, I counted not less than 4 ambulance vehicles trying to help the situation. So they drove out, in and out, in turns, as most of the students were left at this scene, and then the paramedics attended to them, trying to resuscitate some of them. The information I picked from some of the teachers here is that some of the students are actually asthmatic patients, and they suspect that probably because of the gunshots, the shocks that they receive from the gunshots, sounds of the guns, that is what might have caused some of them to go into this unconscious state, but that cannot be confirmed because we are yet to get the expert opinion from the paramedics and the medical staff who attended to these students here. But the police have already confirmed that they did not fire any live bullets here, but that is yet to be also be confirmed because we don't know exactly what caused these students to be in those unconscious states.
So it means that while the teachers are saying one thing, the police are also saying another thing, right?
No, we are trying to piece information together. The information from police, because I tried to find out from them as to whether they fired live shots or live ammunition. And the indication is that no, we didn't fire live ammunition. All that we did was to fire warning shots. And later, whilst the police station on the premises of the campus and speaking to school authorities and teachers here, they saw some of the students being rushed from their dormitories in unconscious state. And so the teachers themselves don't know what actually caused these students to be in that unconscious state. So what we are trying to do is to get confirmation from the medical staff who attended to the students to give us a clear information, clear indication of what actually happened to them. So we are able to make an informed decision from this situation here. Okay,
Ohiming. So aside being unconscious, did you see anybody who has been injured with blood oozing from the body, or just people being brought in on unconscious states?
Not that I can confirm.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So that's my colleague on hearing, who is at the Islamic school in Kumasi there. Now, moving on to other stories. The Savannah Regional Minister has assured security has been beefed up in and around Kutula to bring the tension there under control. One person was shot dead as a couple of days ago after a confrontation between two rival traditional chiefs who were claiming ownership of Kutula. Kutula is located between Savannah and Northeast region, but administratively, the community is in the Savannah region. North Tongu has more in the following report.
Community sources who spoke to JoyNews said the incident occurred in the afternoon of Saturday when a group of heavily armed men who were transiting on motorbikes to a community called Pempasem suddenly made a stop at the Kutula community. According to the sources, the armed men, after disembarking from their motorbikes, began to carry out looting of livestock and other properties belonging to the villagers. This resulted in a confrontation with the villagers, who came out to prevent the armed men from taking their properties. In the process, the armed men opened fire in the village, leading to the death of the young man identified only as Razak, who was insisting on taking back his goat, which had been captured by the armed men. The paramount chief of Janga, Nansedu Nantogma, says the incident has left the entire area in a tense and unpredictable situation.
Somebody sitting in his house, his hometown. You are just passing by your car. Then you started catching their goats and then their sheep inside the car. And they came out to ask you, why are you doing that? You started to shoot him and just take the goats away and go to the place where you are going, making somebody's funeral. Security came and asked them. They told them what has happened. They went to them and come back with empty hands. They didn't arrest anybody.
The chief confirmed that police personnel from the Savannah region have been deployed and currently patrol the area. The Sonaba, however, said the security personnel are yet to arrest the armed men who are still present in the area, threatening and harassing the villagers with their arms.
You would have not seen those who killed him. That one that you still investigation. But you want to meet them with their guns, AK-47 and others, walking the whole town. You see them, they are not the military people, they are not the security people. Why? You must arrest them to let them know that they can put the law into their own hands, doing what they are doing. They are spoiling the name of the government.
The armed men have been identified as traditional militias coming from Daboya in the Savannah region, who were deployed to protect a funeral ceremony in one of the disputed communities in the area. Speaking to JoyNews, the Savannah Regional Minister assured that the security personnel on the ground will restore calm and prevent further escalation.
We actually don't know, but I believe sincerely that these warriors are obviously coming from the Kojo side of the district. But precisely where they are coming from, I can't tell precisely now, because it is a Gunja chief who died, and no any other tribe would have gone for the funeral other than his own siblings, possibly his family. But as I speak, we have detailed enough security yesterday to the place to maintain peace, and also to make sure that the warriors who were going for the funeral are flashed back to wherever they come from.
The Kutula community is one of the about 40 communities, including Lukula, that are being currently contested in a boundary dispute between the Sioux traditional area in the northeast region and Wasipe in the Savannah region. From Nalirgu, Ilyasu Tanko, reporting for Joy News.
Now, leadership of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools says it will be suing government over what it describes as discriminatory and uneven distribution of students under the computerized school selection and placement system. President of the association, Dr. Damascus Turusong, says the 30% priority allocation of grade A SHS admissions to public schools is a disadvantage to students in private JHS schools. The situation, he says, is forcing students to leave their private-based institutions for public schools to increase their chances of getting placed into good schools. There's more in the following report.
The senior high school computer placement policy currently gives 30% priority placement to grade A schools to students from public schools before the remaining 70% is shared to all basic schools across the country. The Ghana National Association of Private Schools, NAPS, says the policy rolled out by the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education is discriminatory towards private schools. Leadership of the association says all means to have it reversed have proved futile. Speaking at the launch of the Ghana National Association Private Schools Week, President of the association, Dr. Damascus Turusong, revealed the association is preparing to file legal action against government.
Well, I think that in the past we have used many avenues of trying to persuade government, the policymakers, to do away with this discriminatory policy of 30% priority placement into category A schools for public schools. So it's reached a level where we indeed need to test the law and see how we can get the issue addressed. Because we cannot continue to suffer this discrimination since it is affecting a significant segment of Ghana's school children, that's the private sector. So indeed we are we have spoken to some lawyers already, and we are massing up to take the issue up at the courts.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Education, Reverend John Intim Kojo, has called for more collaborations with the association to have its concerns addressed.
So may we see ourselves as one, as pursuing one agenda, as ensuring that every child that is born Ghanaian receives access to quality education, whether public or private. So it must not be a rivalry. It must be a collaborative work. It must be a collective effort to ensure that regardless the classroom that a child born Ghanaian enters into in this country, whether it's public school or it's private school, we must have high levels of quality outcomes. We must have quality education running through all our classrooms.
Emmanuel Bright Kweku, Joy News, Kumasi.
Now, joining us live for an interaction on their intended action is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, Justice King. Thanks for joining us, Justice. How long has this been a problem for your association?
Okay, so it has taken some maybe 4 years, let's say so. But I think the thing got compounded by our last. But this year's placement exercise and by some utterances passed by the General for Ghana Education Service. But more importantly is to situate the conversation. We have our national celebration once every year, during which we do a lunch where we bring the public into a discourse to understand exactly what our problems are as private school operators. In particular, this year we are actually being sensed by the fact that a number of our students, upon reaching JSS1, move to the public sector schools to either write the BEC quickly, by that means that by form to they write the BEC, or they move to the public sector school to continue their education from there, so that their chances of entering category A schools will be brighter.
So how is this arrangement affecting your operations, if of course they are with you to JHS1 or JHS2?
Yeah, so if we look at the way the work in the JHS is like, we don't have a teacher to a class. We have a set of teachers to the department. So you have a minimum of about 7 teachers running 3 classes, JHS 1, 2, and 3. And so it's a bit expensive of it. And so when you don't have, maybe by the time a child gets the final year class, Form 3, if the numbers goes down, it affects the cost of operation, and that makes it very difficult for the schools that are most hit with this problem.
Well, before you go to court, what steps have you taken to get the issue addressed before your idea of suing government?
So let me just say that Ghana National Secondary School actually believes in adopting civil procedures in resolving our issues. So when there are conflicts, we want to sit with the other stakeholders to see how we can address it. And we have been doing this for some time. We had a recent meeting with the Minister of Education when the issue of 80% was proposed by the Director of Ghana Education Service, for example. He gave us assurance that under his watch, nothing like that will happen. He cannot sit as a minister to do anything that will help private schools. He actually gave us all the assurance. And I think that it's part of that goodwill that we saw a deputy when we invited to our last week lunch, and the deputy minister was in attendance on his behalf. So we have always explored civil means to address our issues. And going to court is one of the civil means actually in ensuring that if there are issues of discrimination, the whole idea of trying to ensure that children from deprived schools get the opportunity is fine, but the deprived students are in both public and private. So what we are expecting done actually is to ensure that if you are saying the 30% additional, if the 30% set aside is for deprived schools, we deprive students from both public and private, not public schools and leaving the private schools out, because there are really struggling private schools that who even in their area might not even find a public school to attend. If they have to walk several miles to attend the school.
How strong is this case of yours going to challenge government over the 30%?
Our lawyers actually have given us assurance. They have looked at the issues, and then so yes, they will be dealing from this time onwards. They will be the ones who will be taking up the issues from there. But we are very ready to.
When is this case going to be? When is this case coming on?
Well, anytime soon. They are just putting their details together, and then formal information will be given out to the public when the whole thing takes off.
So you don't have an idea when exactly you're going to sue government?
The lawyers will be taking up that. I don't want to actually start talking for them. I want them to do that themselves.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for joining us. Justice Kane is General Secretary for the Ghana National Association of Private Schools. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government is only spending a little of its annual expenditure to build what he calls a righteous state whilst attaining a key nation transformation component, spirituality. Government has in the last week been criticized following revelations that nearly 200 million cedis of taxpayers' money has so far been spent on the National Cathedral project. The minister has been rejecting claims that the expenditure is not budgeted for. Meanwhile, North Tongu MP Samuel Kojo, who has been at the forefront of the public criticism over a Facebook post describing the finance minister's responses as an unmitigated disaster. He told MFR Pao on the Probe on JoyNews channel that he will continue to demand answers and compliance to Ghana's laws.
I have even heard some people try to compare what is going on now with the National Mosque. Let's be clear, for the National Mosque, it was not a government of Ghana project. Even the Turkish support was not Turkish government. It was a foundation in Turkey, a family that really, very endowed. They build mosques across the globe. So let's not, mix the issues. So people are even going beyond what we in the NDC caucus in Parliament are doing, and even raising fundamental questions. We have not gone that far. We are saying that for now, we are more concerned about our mandate. Can you imagine if one day it is probably some investigative journalists or some CSOs who find out that, look, all of these atrocities have taken place and Parliament just sat aloof. We did not assert our authority. The whole principle of checks and balances. Parliament exists to hold the executive in check, to demand accountability, and to ensure that the Constitution is respected. You checked your responsibility. How will we look?
Okay.
And what would the Ghanaian people say? So people should not, this is not...
So it's not a case that you are just picking and choosing.
Yes.
You are not picking and choosing which issues to hold government accountable
Exactly.
for.
We're demanding accountability across board, and we are saying the Constitution should be respected.
The Savannah Regional Minister has assured security has been beefed up in and around Kutula, a community that has been under some tension because of rival chiefs claiming ownership. Let's go onto the phone lines now and speak to and get more details about this particular one, because we've been joined on the line by my colleague Eliasu Tanko with more on the committee and the work they've done. Eliasu, first of all, give us a background to this claim of the affected communities. We'll return to that story later on, but an increasing number of studies have found that girls in low-income settings miss or struggle at school during menstruation when they are unable to manage their menstrual hygiene effectively. The situation is even worse for girls in communities like Aworopata, a farming community in the Techima municipality, where girls use pieces of unhygienic cloth each time they have their menses. Executive Director of the Women Integrated Development Organization, a non-profit organization, charged government to scrap the taxes imposed on menstruation materials to make it affordable for girls in need. And as Sabet has more in this report.
Ghana has a variety of misconceptions and stigmas about menstruation. A popular belief is that menstruation is unclean, leading to mismanagement of menstrual hygiene. This has led to a significant percentage of girls in schools missing precious school lessons due to menstruation. Executive Director of Women Integrated Development Organization, WIDO, David Balonguri, noted that the situation is worrying, especially in rural communities.
In our process, we observe that most of the time when we come to the community to visit the groups that we are working with, we mostly found most of the girls not being in school, and we try to understand what exactly the challenges were. We got to understand that most of them absented themselves from school as a result of menstruation, and those that even were able to go to school also had challenges in really managing their menstruational periods.
With the current taxes imposed on menstruation materials, David Balonguri appealed to government to remove these taxes, which is currently making it difficult for girls from low-income households to afford them.
Some of them also complained of not having pads because of the cost and then the rates. So we wanted to use the opportunity to celebrate the World Menstrual Day, and also to use the opportunity to advocate to government to really actually go by its promise of removing taxes on the pads such that it will become affordable for the rural communities to be able to afford.
Bonui's regional head of the Department of Gender, Monica Onye, called for a concerted effort by stakeholders to help in the provision of free sanitary pads to girls, especially in rural schools.
We feel that, I guess, government is trying to do something about these things, maybe subsidizing the price of these sanitary pads. And if there's a way that these girls could get these pads freely, not even subsidizing, if we could get them for them like Widow has done today, so that these girls can come to school and then have the education that they need, instead of staying at home when they are in their menses.
Some of these girls who have never used sanitary pads disclosed to JoyNews what they use each time they have their menses, and were thankful to the organizers of the program for educating them on the proper use of the sanitary pads. When my parents do not have money to buy pads for me, I use a piece of cloth so I prevent the blood from flowing through my panties. And when I overflow whilst in school, I change the piece of cloth and dump it into a toilet pit. We struggle a lot in buying pads, especially myself. So we are happy you came around today. I wish each one of us would receive at least a box of sanitary pads. We are grateful for this and we pray you'll be able to come back with more. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, our reporter.
So let's take you back to Kumasi and to my colleague on him interior. We understand authorities of the Islamic school are addressing the press on their development. Let's take you live to Kumasi now.
Urban Road Directorate will be very, very important. Okay. But even that, as a layperson, I know zebra crossing is of vital importance to ensure that we're able to get it. Current state of the school, no, academic work is progressing, as you can see from the school. Everything is under control. The regional director is here. Some heads of other institutions are here. Staff from the education directorate from the region is here. Staff from the Ministry of Education is here. It tells how important we are. Okay, so we can look at what happened here, and we want to follow up that. My name is Mensa, and I speak for the Minister of Education.
Okay, so MFA, can we engage Mr. Opoku Mensa briefly? He speaks for the Minister of Education here. So, Mr. Opoku Mensa, help us understand the situation. What is the ministry? What will the ministry do about this situation? What's the ministry doing?
Yeah, so what the ministry immediately, that is why we are here. And as you can attest, we are ensuring that whatever incident which happened is brought under control. And we've been able to achieve that. We've spoken to parents just to remain calm. We have given them the assurance that every student, any student found in this school is well and doing. We are protecting them. We are ensuring that those that were taken to the hospital are safe. Some have been brought back. Probably one or two are yet to be brought back to school. And currently, as we speak, academic work is ongoing. So we've seen the environment. The Director of Education is also following up with the matter to ensure that every student that was taken to the hospital is brought back. We are not arresting now, just that as CAM is in here now, we want to follow up and ensure that we get to the bottom of it. But as I indicated, we will engage the Urban Road Directorate to ensure that immediately some markings will be done on the road. And even if that is done, that wouldn't be an antidote to an accident occurring. But again, we need to educate and advise our drivers who ply this road to also ensure that they are cautious when getting to a school junction. Because 60% of the population in this school are day students. And day in and day out, in the morning and in the afternoon, students will be crossing. So we can't maintain that same speed limit that we are descending with. So we need to be cautious.
Do you think that the students, they have a genuine concern that has to be addressed.
Everybody, anybody within this community do have a genuine concern. Now, if you are in this school, a headmaster, a student, you have a genuine concern in relation to where how the drivers behave on the road. And you don't need to be an engineer before you show a concern for this situation. And I think that this is a wake-up call so that we can respond to schools which are closer to roads and ensure that we have a safe environment for our drivers.
So what has been the briefing? What briefing did you receive from school authorities? Are the students suffering from probably live gunshots or what?
No, there is nothing like that, like a live gunshot in that nature. Per the police response was as a result of the reaction of the students, and there wasn't any firing of. I haven't seen that. I haven't had any briefing of a live gunshot in there. And the students that were sent to the hospital were only as a result of the shock, where they've seen numerous police officers trooping to their campus. That resulted in them collapsing, etc. But God being so good, they are well and doing, so they are back to school to learn.
But it's interesting to hear that academic work is still continuing. How in this situation?
Yeah, you can attest to it. I was coming from the school, and this is what I have verified from the grounds. And you are here. You came here before me, and you can look at your back. They are on break now. The school environment is so calm, very conducive, as if nothing has happened. We are on the ground and we are doing what we can do best to ensure that we have conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning.
Thank you, Mr. Opoku-Mensah. He speaks for the Ministry of Education. Earlier on, he was giving us information as to what has been happening here. The indication is that parents who are agitated and trying to, force their way into the school will not be allowed, and they are still here in their numbers. The Regional Director of Education and Mr. Opoku-Mensah took turns to address the parents as well as the headmaster of this particular school. But the parents are agitated, they are unhappy. Some of them say there has been several calls. The issue of construction of speed ramp have come up at their PTA meetings where discussions were made and efforts were put in to ensure that the speed ramps are constructed here. But that has brought nothing as far as those discussions are concerned, and they are happy that the students will take this matter into their own hands. Some of them are also expressing concerns as to why school authorities will allow the students to hit the streets. This, they say, is not the fight for the students. It's something that should come from the school authorities. The indication is that they think that the students were not protected. They were not protected enough. The school authorities were not protective of the students enough, and that is how come they managed to hit the streets, and we are at where we are because of this particular incident. So I must say, yes, the Ministry of Education officials are here, as well as the Ghana Education Service, and the parents, they themselves are agitated, but the school authorities say they will not allow them. Ask the doors, the gates to this school is also locked and closed for them to be here. And so MFR, as we speak, that is the situation here at the Islamic Senior High School here in Kumasi.
So we have our eyes and ears on the ground. Whatever happens, we'll bring the latest to you in our bulletin and subsequent ones. For now, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in business. Stay on.
Hi, good morning and welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Association of Bread Bakers in the Ashanti region is calling on government to reduce the taxes on baking ingredients, especially wheat flour. According to the bakers, this will help reduce cost of bread across the country. They say prices of bread will continue to shoot up if the situation is not resolved. Love FM's Abdul Latif Awal spoke to some bakery owners in Kumasi.
Currently, about 75% of wheat flour is used to make bread, while the remaining 25% is used for cakes and other pastries. Prices of wheat flour have been revised upward for 3 consecutive times since the start of the year, once before Russia invaded Ukraine and twice after. Chairperson of the association wants the government to reduce taxes on baking ingredients. Teresa Boachi-Bedu is leader of bread bakers in Ashanti region.
We have some of the ladies who come to collect the bread, and then they also give it to the final seller. So, for example, if I make the bread and I give it to them, ACDs, she also come and take it and give it to the final seller at ACDs 70 pesos. And then the final seller will also sell at 10 cedis. It is going up, but there's nothing they can also do. That is why we are also suggesting that since the dollar is going up, and we can't do anything about dollar going up, if they can just reduce the price of the taxation, the government can reduce it so that currently, so we can also buy until the time that things will stabilize, because we all know that if we pay the tax, it's then that they can also work on the country.
Some bakery owners are also feeling the heat of the price increase in baking ingredients.
Kasi ya kula bread no kra besi atum na de ha adwene se bread ya aduane ya wo de koba akumienu ne ya nta wo a wo ton ade no so waboka esam to mu fiti last year January esam here 140 asat now esam ko 500 Ghana say esam no ka say 470 plus and ye tobi dollar na emene yen taxes any duty no so many yen so me chira wo kofa esam one tracker taxes ni duty said that's so abla wo baba wanim enti samre ya aman foforo eniama akoso na amaye ho chire yen no ya ban so mrem na eniama no taxes a ya jeje no wanted to so mayen na ye ho hale yen kakra yes no.
Every month there is an increment, which is not helping us. It's reducing our capital. A flour which was buying at 245,000 beginning of this year is now selling at 445,000, which is almost times 2. The government can reduce, to consider their tax for them. Either to reduce it a bit for them so that they can also reduce the price for us a bit.
Abdul Latif Awal's report read to you.
In other news, stakeholders in the startup ecosystem, together with support from the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEIP, are developing a bill to streamline funding support for startups. This forms part of a move by stakeholders to bring all business support programs targeting the youth under one umbrella through the National Entrepreneurship Policy. Chief Executive of the NEIP, Kofi Ofosu-Nkansa, disclosed this at an engagement with the Enterprise Bureau as part of its startup dialogue.
Because if we look at the startup index, Africa, I think the likes of Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, and sometimes Nigeria, they are quite ahead of Ghana in terms of how much investments they receive into their startups ecosystem. And it's because of the building blocks they laid, the foundation they laid and all that. Then Ghana too, we are not sleeping. As I speak now, a Startup Act is being developed by the ecosystem. And once it gets passed by Parliament and it gets a presidential assent, and we get to implement what is in the Act, it will help stimulate growth in the sector so that we can continue to provide support which will ensure growth of the sector. Typically, they need funding support, market access, regulatory support in terms of product certification, at agencies like Standards Authority, FDA, and the like, tax compliance issues with Ghana Revenue Authority and other financial institutions. How do we give them exemptions? Already, if you come through NEIP, we're able to assess 5-year tax exemption. If you're a business person under 35, your first 5 years, you are tax exempt until such a time that you get some footing before you start paying tax. But these are isolated supports in the ecosystem now, which the Startup Act will bring together under a national entrepreneurship policy, so that from the government side, the policy framework will be available to drive the growth that we expect in the ecosystem, because entrepreneurship is the order of the day.
And that's your business update for now. Sports is coming up next.
Oh, so it's time for us to bring you sports on the Joy News desk, and the man Lawrence Bedu has joined me. Today is all about, well, I'll go to you. Lawrence, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
So, I guess we're talking about Kojo.
Oh, yes.
Obviously.
It was a crowning moment for them yesterday.
Porcupine Warriors.
Exactly.
Too much
what it is. You know, it's what you get when you play so much good football in a season. We all knew Kotoko had won the league title after drawing with Ashanti Gold.
Yeah.
But then yesterday was a crowning moment.
Yes.
You saw how they were presented with the medals, how they won the trophy. You know, it's a big moment for Ashanti Kotoko, because since the 2013-2014 season, the club has not won the league title. It was a
nomination cup.
Yeah, normalization
cup
that they won. So for them to come back and then clinch the Premier League title again, from this time it was Hasselhoff who were having it, because they won last season. But then Kotoko fighting their way back to win the league title was all they were wishing for. So it's big moment for the people of Kumasi. You see, the funny thing, the good thing about what they did yesterday was that they topped it up with a good performance, beating Elmina Sharks with a 3-0 scoreline. So it was quite an interesting one at the Bavaria Sports Stadium.
Trust Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and this time around, well, I'm a Kotoko fan, so let me say we took it from our rivals. I've seen some Hearts of Folk supporters trying to ridicule the medals and the Aboboya, but yes, that was a side thing. You know, we have to do something that will stand out, and that's why we did that one.
I believe for the branding that Kotoko has, we could be seeing a victory parade.
We will do it.
Well,
we will do it. Don't worry.
Only time will tell.
We will do it. We'll start from Accra and drive all the way to Kumasi with it.
Why not start from Kumasi and then come to?
No.
You want to finish the party in Kumasi?
Yes.
So just a bit of update. Yesterday, Liberty failed to beat Susubribi away from home. What that means is that Kotoko Royals will play in the Ghana Premier League for the first time in their history.
Wow.
They held Tema Youth to a 0-0 draw at the Tema Sports Stadium yesterday as well. So a bit of news coming in. The Samatex are already in, and the Kotoko Royals joined them.
Yeah,
so
Samatex.
We could be seeing some new faces.
They've done a great job.
26 years, and I sit down and I look at the fact that you have to start from scratch. Year 1, year 2, 26. That's massive for a club.
Yeah.
And one thing I found interesting is that the people of Summer Boy are willing to support the club.
Oh yes.
If you look at the way they trip to the stadium for the coronation, it tells you they are so much interested in what the club present to them the next few years.
Their business manager is actually my friend Paul Anyaba. He's a solid strategist. He's done so well there. But unfortunately for us in the Western region, Secondia Zakes has been relegated to second division. That's a painful one because it is one of the traditional clubs for Western region. We have two. We have Hazakes and 11 Wise.
Their performance doesn't merit coming up.
You think?
Honestly, they've played so well that they are just shying away from coming to the Premier League.
They've played poorly, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. They've played poorly in the last few years.
So that's our bulletin for you, and that's how we wrap it up. But for more news and information, kindly log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Please do enjoy the rest of your morning.